everyone! Today I am going to show you how to do a duplicate stitch, which is my favorite method to weave in your ends, or which you can also use if you have a little hole in your knitting. And I have a tutorial on how I did that in case you want to check it out. If you don't know how to do the duplicate stitch, then I will first show you how to do it on the right side, and then I will also show it from the wrong side. So I'm using some contrasting yarn so that you can see what I am doing. The first thing that you would need to know is that when you're knitting, the yarn usually moves like this, because you're working the rows from the side and then the next row and then the next row. What you do with duplicate stitch is that you follow the way that your yarn went when you knitted a stitch. So from the right side, every stitch that you have looks like a little V, like this. And the yarn goes behind the stitch above, then between these two, and then it comes out here again and forms this little V. So every stitch that you have looks like a V. And that is what we are going to try to duplicate. So when you start, you would want to start in the middle of one of these V's that you have here. You want to start in the middle of them, and then you go behind the V above, like this. And then in order to get to your next V, you go back where you came from in the middle of the V and move one step or one stitch to the left. And you come out again in the middle of the V again. And then it's the same from there. You go behind the V above, back in the middle of your V where you started, and one stitch to the left. Behind the V above, back into the middle of your stitch of your V, and one to the left. And then, as you can see, what you just embroidered, or the shape that you just made, is exactly the same as your stitch. And if you would have done this in a yarn in the same color, then it's fairly invisible. So then we can continue to the wrong side. When you're looking at your knitted fabric from the back, you have these smileys and the frownies, these little bumps from your stitches. And the frownies, the bumps that are this way, are the back loops of your knit stitches. Because when you see here, we went behind the stitch, down here again, and then between these two loops. So the part that is behind here, behind this upper stitch, is the frowny, and the part that connects two stitches with each other sideways is the smiley. So that's something you have to keep in mind when you are working the duplicate stitch from the wrong side. And basically what you want to do is the same thing. You want to follow the stitch as you did on the right side. And here what I like to think of are these two lines. So you have the smileys that connect the stitches here, and then you have the frownies here and here And so where you start is you can just choose any frowny that you want to, and you put your needle through the corresponding smiley and the frowny below. And then you go back through the same stitch here, the same smiley, and now you are following your stitches like this. So on the upper part of your row, and by row I mean these bumps, you have on the upper part you have the frowny that you need to recreate, because that is the upper part of your knit stitch as we saw here. And on the lower part you need to follow the smiley, because that is what connects each stitch to each other. So here you have the frowny, the upper part of the stitch, and then the connecting part, the smiley. And then you would go, just in case you would use this for securing your ends, you just go back and forth a few stitches. And if you would do this, as I said, in the same yarn as you knit it with, then it is almost invisible. One part that I like about the technique is that the fabric remains just as stretchable as it was before. So as the stitches that you do, as they follow the same pattern as the knitted fabric, they stretch just as well. And as you can see here, even in this contrasting color, the stitches that we made on the wrong side are almost invisible, and the stitches that we made on the right side, you can see them a little bit here on the back sides and the lower part of your stitches. Thank you so much for watching today. If you want to let me know what your favorite technique for securing your ends is, and I will see you next Wednesday. Bye bye!